All right, our next thing is, and we'll touch on this really quick. We had a comment. It was actually within the live video a couple episodes back. I think it was the last episode. We were asked to talk about Jean-Real Casimero against Naoya Inoue. So that fight was actually supposed to take place on April 25th. Obviously, it's not going to happen.
In Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas. Obviously, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Inoue is, in my opinion, top 2 or 3 fighters in the world. Right. I don't think that there's definitely not 3 people in the sport who I would say is better than him. You may not know him because you may not pay much of attention to the lower weight classes, but his nickname is the Monster, and he has earned every last letter in that moniker. This dude is nasty. And his last fight against Nonito Donaire, it was the only time I'd ever really seen him challenged, and challenged by a very talented veteran who was totally up and in shape for the fight. He took that challenge and overcame it in the way that was kind of like introducing himself like, yes, I am the guy who you will be hearing about moving forward. Shortly right after that, he signed the deal with Top Rank to be on ESPN. This was going to be his ESPN debut. Yep. This is, and if you don't know who Casimero is, he is a heck of a Filipino fighter. Yep. He just actually took out Zolani Teat, who is also an excellent fighter, who I've seen just dominate guys. He stopped him in the 3rd round. And this was back in November of 2019. So this was an exceptional fight. All of that said, based on what I've seen from both fighters, I would still, because somebody asked us to break this down, I would still lean towards Inoue winning this fight, and I think he stops him. Now he's only, Casimero's only been stopped one time in his career. He's 29-4. He's 31 years old. But from what I've seen, his defense is not up to par to be facing someone with this type of crushing power. I've seen him hit with body shots consistently by lesser fighters. And if you've seen Inoue fight, you know that the body shot is one of his biggest weapons. He goes downstairs as well and as effectively and as a part of his normal combination pattern as most fighters you see today. I would take Inoue in a 7-8 round stoppage.
Look, he's a force of nature. Inoue is a force of nature. He reminds me of someone I worked with in the mid-90s who has Finito Lopez. Yes. Exactly. And I mean, I was up close and personal.
Yes.
Was there.
El Finito.
Listen.
One of the greatest nicknames in the history of combat sports.
But that's what he did. Let me tell you something. I'll tell you a story. He was fighting. And I was there, and I was walking from ringside to the back of house, and I heard you heard the crack. I stopped, and then you hear the thud. That's how hard he hit, and that's how hard guys hit out cold. Yeah. Dead weight hit the canvas. And then I remember I kept walking. I didn't need to know what I knew had just taken place. Fight was over. And I see Inoue having that type of destructive one-punch power, which he's displayed. I mean, and listen, Nonito Donaire, what a great, crafty, former world champion, veteran.
Great performance.
One of the greats. You know what I mean?
He had a great performance.
He brought the fight to him.
Yes.
It was a great fight. It was very entertaining. It was in Japan. I believe that was in November.
Yes, it was the final of the World Boxing.
I mean, it was spectacular. But look, Casimero is also a great fighter. But there's levels, and I don't know if there's anyone that can compete with Inoue. Obviously, Casimero is going to have his opportunity to come with a game plan. The question is this, Brian. You can have these great game plans, and you could be performing great, but like you said, it could just be a split second in the 7th or 8th round. You get clipped, and that's the end.
Well, what did Mike say? What did Mike say?
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. But but when you have that devastating knockout power, And I'm very impressed, by the way, that you knew I was going to talk about Lopez. Just so you know, it's like we're starting to share a brain.
Well, I mean, El Finito was like when I, just really started going from just being like, oh, I watched the regular fights that come on. He was one of the first guys that I really, really looked into, like, man, because I wanted to know about the lower weight classes because nobody paid attention. But yeah, I think it was like 39-0 with 38 knockouts or something ridiculous. It was crazy early on in his career. And he's I believe, one of the most underrated fighters in the history of the sport when you consider his accomplishments and that most people don't.
Look at the era. I mean, he had a lot. It was tough to compete because he had Julio Cesar Chavez still fighting, Mike Tyson, Felix Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, it was a lot of marquee names in bigger weight classes to compete with. So he kind of flew under the radar, but
size bias for sure.
Yeah, it was. And I worked a number of his fights. I mean, I was there. I spent a lot of time around him and his team, and he was great to watch.